Now, engaging children with special needs requires a thoughtful, individualized approach. That what you use for B may not work for A, and what you used for A may not work for B. So your approach has to be individualized and consider each child's strength, challenges, and interests. Now, there are children that are visual learners. You need to support your teaching methods with visuals. It has to be pictures, schedules showing what the child is going to do, videos, you model action, demonstrating what the child needs to do. These are visual supports that you can give to that child who is very strong on visuals. There are some children that are auditory learners. Those ones may not necessarily sit down, okay? Those ones may not necessarily sit down in the classroom and just respond to you, okay? Some children walk around. Walking around does not mean they are not listening to you. Some of them, you might think that, oh, I'm teaching this child does not even listen. No, some of them are walking around, but they are hearing you, okay? They are not paying active attention. Those ones we call them passive learners. You're teaching in the class, you might think that the child is not listening, but the child is hearing you. For those that are auditory learners, they are hearing you. So you need to identify each child's strengths. Some children, if you like, talk from now to tomorrow. Use video if you like. But what works for them is hands-on activities. This is the only way they relate with what you're teaching. It has to be concrete. That's why you need hands-on materials as well when you're teaching children with special needs. When I say hands-on, if it's colors you want to teach, make sure you have pens showing different colors, red and blue. Show red, show blue. Let them play, do messy play, paint their palm with the red, paste it on paper. It's even more engaging and more reinforcing than showing them pictures, because now they are playing with it. If it's just red, just play with red. So this understanding their individual strength. Okay, now challenges. Some children may not sit down to attend to all the lectures you have to give. Looking at challenges, some children may not be able to sit down to listen to all your lectures. Okay, some children may not be able to copy all the notes you have to copy in class. Some children may not be able to pay long attention to what you're teaching. So you need to understand this and then know how you plan for the children. Now, their interest. Some children may like music. Some may like drum playing musical instruments. Some may like art and crafts. Okay, there are so many things that some may be so good with technology. Okay, so you need to understand what are their area of interest, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how can I help? So this is you now understanding each child's differences. Okay, and you need to plan accordingly to meet their needs. So there's a video I uploaded, was it 2 weeks ago? I called it Rainbow Classroom. Rainbow Classroom. What that simply means is you have different children, different faces. In as much you have different children, different faces, that your scheme of work you have planned may not work. You have to also understand the rainbow children in your class and develop your scheme to fit them. You need to be able to adapt. Now, I'm not saying you have for the 18 students you have in your classroom, you have to draw up 18 scheme of work. No, you still have your standard scheme of work. But for that one or two that will not flow with the other 60 students in your class, you need to be able to also meet their needs. Understand their needs and create a supportive environment. First of all, for you to work with any child with special needs, first you need to know that you need to have an assessment report from the parents or from this. If you're working for a school, you need to have a background information about that child. You can't afford to have a child with special needs in your class and you don't have any background information about that child. They just brought the child. The next you want to plan to work with that child, plan your whole scheme to work. So what are you going to work with? Like, what are you going to actually plan when you don't have information about this child? Okay, it's always good to have background information about this child, because this will help to inform your decision about your approach to working with them. Okay, start by understanding the specific needs, preferences, and abilities of each child. This might involve consulting with specialists, teachers, or caregivers. Parents is included, yes. So you need to understand the assessment reports and what at the areas that we identify, because a report will always detail what the child likes, the challenges, the area to be improved, what the child can do. So it gives you with very robust information about the child. So always try to read assessment report, or you can carry out one, observe the child yourself before embarking on working with that child. That's individualized approach. Yes. It's almost similar. You need to use individualized approach to tailor your activity to match the developmental level of the child's sensory preferences. Like I said, this is a visual learner or tactile learner or auditory learner. So you need to understand their learning style and then develop your approach. Now, safety, ensure the physical environment is safe and accommodating with the necessary modifications. What does that mean? Now, first of all, you need to make sure your class is safe, that your class is, if you're in a classroom that the windows are high, make sure that the child is not, and you have a child that have a tendency of jumping through the window, you need to modify that window area so they don't have a child jumping off through the window, or you're upstairs, the windows are not well. I'm just saying, I know most schools, they put all these things to consideration. So that you know that the environment is safe. What about pains on the ground, things that can easily injure? Now, this even goes to all the children in the classroom. Make sure your environment is safe. For children especially, make sure the class is not noisy. It's sensory friendly. That means that there's not too much noise, it's not too lighted, it's not too many distractions all around. Okay. Now, consistency and routine. Having a functional routine is very important. You have your schedule that you're working with and stick to it. This helps children with special needs to function better. We'll dwell more on schedules and routine, okay, later on as we go on. So you need to be consistent in what you're doing. And if anything is going to change in your daily routine in the classroom or at home or with the child you're working with, you need to be able to inform the child ahead of time. It's called priming in ABA. You prime the child. Oh, if the child is used to swimming on a certain day and that day it rained or the pool is undergoing maintenance, you have to start telling this child, if you know a day before, you can talk to the child a day before. Oh, John, tomorrow the pool will be undergoing maintenance. It means you will not be able to swim. John may not understand. The very day, oh, it rained. John, because it rained, there will be no swimming. If possible, you have pictures showing John, rain, pool. You cross it with red sign. Oh, it's sunny. Yes, you can swim. You can swim. So that John is seeing the difference. John sometimes may not understand, but a functional John that have some level of understanding will understand to an extent. So that when it's actually the time for swimming, John will not start throwing a mega tantrum. So even if John does not understand, oh, I told you before that you will be no swimming. Now you're still crying. Yes, you have to do it. John may not understand when you will do that in the next 10 times. So, but when you continue like that with time, John gets to understand that, oh, because of it rained, I cannot swim. Because it rained, I cannot go to adult. Because it rained, I may not be able to visit shop today. Because it rained, I may not go on the road walk today. Because it rained. So you have to tell your child ahead of time if something is going to change in their routine. Okay.